Welcome to Friday edition. Yes, it's finally Friday, August 7th, 2026. Temperatures outside in the mid-70s across the area. It's a gorgeous afternoon. Very pleasant. A little breeze out of the northwest at about 10 to 25, but all in all, a very, very nice day. I'm Chief Meteorologist Dean Wysocki, along with our Ag Director, Bridgette Readel. Bridgette, I don't know about you, but so glad the weekend is almost here.
But you know what? I feel like asking what is weekend because there's just plenty of things that have to be going on as of late. So sure, happy weekend.
Right. So, some of us get to enjoy the weekend and some of us don't, right? There you go.
Right.
Yeah. Well,
Right.
when we had Gary on earlier this week, and he was talking about how the LRC from middle of this month onward through the end of September had temperatures, I should say, precip averaging pretty close to normal, which is good to hear. And it'll probably seem like a lot of rain, but I've had quite a few emails saying, are these going to be drought busting rains? No, we need about a month and a half of above normal precip and quite a bit above normal to even get close to where we need to be. So will it bust the drought? No, but it will help. And we're starting to see signs of this now on our extended models as they're bringing in more chances of rain towards the end of next week, which is the middle of the month, and going forward as well. So that's good news, finally. Now, we had some scattered storms this morning out in Lakes Country. Some of those packed a little punch. And last night, we had an unexpected pop-up thunderstorm in southern Cass County, where areas around Leonard picked up about a tenth to a quarter of an inch and a little bit of hail down there, but it was very narrow band and it dissipated pretty quickly. Now today, no rain in the forecast for today. We've got sunny skies. There's a few fair weather clouds if you look just to the north of the FM area, and some of those will squeeze in to the FM area this afternoon. We'll top out in the upper 70s with a northwest wind about 10 to 25. Clear skies and a very pleasant night tonight, mid-50s. And tomorrow will warm things up a little bit. Southerly winds about 5 to 15 and highs about 86 to 88 tomorrow. Now, a slight chance of a few storms tomorrow night, kind of similar to what we had this morning, where a cold front will come through and we could trigger off an isolated storm. Again, not expecting a lot out of that. And then cooler weather on Sunday with highs closer to 80. And then as we head into Monday, a slight chance for an early morning storm as warmer air tries to push in with low to mid-80s for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of next week. By the end of next week, that's when I see our chance of rain. And it looks like a more widespread rain, hopefully. That's the way it appears now. And that would time out pretty well with the LRC. A little more widespread rain event possible next Thursday and Friday. And it looks like that may lead to cooler weather for next weekend. We'll see how that irons out. But we're not done with the heat. Right after mid-month, I do think we're going to see a couple of shots of that heat, but we're going to be right on the edge of that heat dome, and that's where we get the more active weather pattern with a little more rainfall. So that's what we're banking on, is we're going to see that heat dome not quite make it into the area. We're right on the edge of that, and that's a good place to be because that means, again, our rain chances will increase. So I like to say we have good news on the horizon. Just be patient. We'll get there.
Looking at the U.S. Drought Monitor right now, we can see that drought in the Dakotas has certainly intensified. The majority of North Dakota is in now anywhere from abnormally dry to D2 drought. And the south central region of the state still looks like it's okay. But honestly, Daryl Richardson, state climatologist, said it's probably worse there than is actually being reported. As you look across the United States, I think the only state that does not have drought in its borders as of right now is probably Rhode Island. You're even seeing some abnormally dry areas kind of in the top northwest corner of Indiana, a little bit of Ohio. Every state's being touched, including Hawaii and Alaska.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got it everywhere. Some areas have intensified. You know, that panhandle of Texas and into Kansas. I honestly can't tell you what year we're on of drought down there, but it seems like the 27th of forever for those folks. If you would like to be a reporter for what's going on for the drought in your area, actually you can go to the U.S. Drought Monitor website, and there's a link to click for the next U.S. Drought Monitor 101 webinar. So you can learn how to be a reporter and give concrete information as to what's happening in your region. That will be held next Thursday, August 13th, from 3 to 4 p.m. Eastern Time. So that's from 2 to 3 o'clock our time. How dry is it? Well, combine fires have certainly started, and it can be just as easy as, a header hitting a rock in wheat stubble. A lot of farms have refilled their spray tanks on their water trucks, so they've got clean water available to fight fires. In McIntosh County last night, I know there was probably about 130 to 140 acres of wheat stubble that took off. It did not really get into the standing crop. Maybe only about an acre of that did get into about 30 or 40 acres of pasture. And it took 3 local fire departments to come on out and help battle that blaze because there was just enough wind and they needed to make sure they got that under control. So you definitely are seeing those effects of the dry conditions right now. Folks are taking extra caution, but there's only so much that can be done at one time in order to be safe.
Yeah, no doubt. And one of our listeners, Renee, just called in from Davenport, so just outside of, just northeast of Leonard. And she
Hey,
said,
Renee, how's the mail today? I know who she is.
"Oh, you know, Renee. Okay." She said they had what'd she say? 3/4 of an inch. Okay, 3/4. Yeah, they had 3/4 of an inch of rain, and it's right outside of the end-on site out of Leonard. I know that area had about a quarter, so that's definitely conceivable. 3/4 of an inch. So great. I mean, like I said, it was very isolated, just to the south of the Fargo area. But hey, that helps for the Davenport area as well.
I would agree, and so good for those guys. I'm not going to begrudge you taking some rainfall anytime you can right now. If others would like to take advantage of those types of reports, we'd love to have you, just like Renee did. You can reach us on the JLA Insurance phone line, 701-293-9000, brought to us by Nate Thorsrud and JLA Insurance. With changes that just happened, a 2-month extension on crop insurance premiums for a payment, you can go ahead and talk to Nate. He's going to help explain those changes in details, and certainly glad to have him on your side. You can be watching today on the Lighthouse Commodities live stream. That is at Acres TV, Facebook, as well as YouTube. Thanks again with Acres TV. They had us down to the Ag PhD Field Day last week. Outstanding day. Great to be able to record down there and be with those folks for a whole it was a whole day. I'd say afternoon, but I was on that field by 6:30 in the morning, and it was go, go, go. As we think about changes that are happening, the State Board of Ag Research and Education, known as SBARE, they recently held elections for that board in Fargo, making leadership transitions and adding in some new members. John Norgard of Botno, also a longtime plant and potato pathologist, he has served with SBARE since 2022, was elected chair, and this will be his second term on the board. John Norgard has more than 46 years of experience in soils, ag production, and research. In fact, we've had John as a guest here when it comes to talking about potatoes. There are few who know more than John might. Adding to the board is Aaron Galbraith of Butte, North Dakota, Christine Yeager of Esmond, and Brian McDonald of Leonard. They have also joined the SBARE board. Galbraith, in particular from Butte, he fulfills a term of Jason Schmidt, who was elected to the board and then died unexpectedly exactly a year ago. And unfortunately, we lost Jason. He was a valued member of the livestock community, did a lot of work with North Dakota Stockmen's Association, and we appreciate Aaron stepping up to take that spot in the loss of Jason Schmidt. And there's a lot going on with USDA right now. So USDA, are they trying to fix some of the problems that they have had over there, especially with the National Ag Statistics Service? That's the agency that brings out what are our planted acres, our estimated yield goals, etc. And a year ago, it's been a little over a year, they had a terrible prediction, estimate, whatever you want to call it, on what was going to be happening for corn. And we were very surprised to see all of a sudden they raised the volume of corn that they thought was grown in the U.S., which just tanked our market and made some big impacts on economics for farmers. Now, NASS has really lost faith with a lot of farmers. Again, that's National Ag Statistics Service. Farmers question their role as the watchdog of America's bins and bushels. But Ag Secretary Brooke Rollins says we're going to do an overhaul of NASS, and she has all of this idea locked in by taking flyovers across the U.S., not only what she sees from the air, but then hosting um, roundtables and talking sessions with farmers and those in the industry locally. And I think the next one up will be at the Farm Progress Show in Iowa, September 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. She was most recently at Farm Fest this last week in Minnesota to pick up some information. NASS tallies our crop numbers, and those numbers truly move our markets. And sometimes significant loss in faith comes from the fact that they leave farmers holding the bag and taking the hit more so than anybody else. So we're going to see if that overhaul of NASS can happen and if things can change as promised by USDA Secretary Brooke Rollins. We'd like to. We'll see where it comes from, and we'll keep you posted on all that information here and also what you're reading in the trade magazines coming along from the ag industry. When we return, we'll have more to talk about with headlines. Our guest later today in the show will be Anna Sather. She is with Farm in the Dell. Wait, who are they? Oh, they're this great nonprofit here in the region. We've talked to these folks before, but we need an update on what's happening with them, and we'll do it after the livestock report from the American Ag Network. What kind of building projects do you have going on? Something you really want to get taken care of before fall? Well, now is your time. Anderco is ready to help you out. If you are looking at steel, commercial, industrial, or agricultural buildings, they want to help you. For 20 years, Anderco has been building businesses and farm equipment, machinery sheds, etc. across the region. Their reputation is built on experience, reliability, and results that stand the test of time. You want a start to finish construction and project with expert planning and superior craftsmanship? These are your people. Check out AndercoEnterprises.com or give them a call, 701-277-7078. Because when you want a building built to last, you want to trust Anderco Enterprises. Also, folks, coming up, free lunch for teachers and staff. That is Wednesday, August 12th, right here at the studios, north of Thunder Road Golf Carts. Go-karts, not golf. Go-karts. The go-karts are faster.
Hey, that'd be fun,
Then,
though. Like speed golf carts going around that track. That'd be fun.
I once had a retailer I was with on the golf course say that he thought you should be able to carry your golf clubs and then probably a rifle because as we were golfing that day, and this was out at Thumper Pond, and deer kept walking across the fairway while we were trying to golf.
Oh.
And he's like, "Well, if this was in season, we'd fix this little problem."
Yeah,
But
He's just lying. He's just mad people were putting better than him.
Yeah,
Take out
right.
the competition right there on the spot.
can happen. I didn't need that club. I'll just blast it from here. So, okay, so we're back to August 12th. That is Wednesday. We're having lunch for teachers and school staff right here at WDAY and the Flag Studios from 11 to 1. You have food trucks for lunch, games for the kids, prizes, all the good things. So swing by, join us for lunch before school starts. We would love to have you be a part of that. All right, there is some work being done congressionally on a bill called FARMS. FARMS, this stands for the Farm, Food, and National Security Act of 2026. And within it, it includes the Farmer Assistance, Resilience, and Mental Health Evaluation Research Study. So it's only a study, but this legislation would direct the USDA to look more deeply into the availability and use of mental health services among farmers, ranchers, and ag professionals. And then they would have to report back to Congress. Nothing ever moves fast when it comes to legislatively. And if this would come to fruition, the bill would have to then initiate the study. The study would have to be done, which is probably a 3-year commitment to get the study done. And if it all passes, then we could just evaluate what the needs are in the rural areas. How soon could more help come to rural areas from federal funding? I give it a 5-year timeline before this actually gets done. So again, it's a study, it's a directive. The bill has a lot of work to do. It has to get through the Senate Ag Committee. They've released a version that they think is important, but now we have to have the House look at it. And considering that they couldn't come to agreement on the farm bill that they were looking at this week, not really sure we're going to get this bill moved through anytime soon. It would reauthorize the Farm and Ranch Stress Assistance Network, and it would include more provisions for rural telehealth programs and a priority on mental health and behavioral health services in rural areas. I think some congressional leaders feel like this was accomplished because of the rural health care bill that was passed earlier this year, but I don't think it goes far enough in that particular piece of legislation when it comes to being specific to mental health. Our small towns, you're just not going to find someone on, as far as like a psychiatric nurse or a psychiatrist, counselors, therapists in every small town. If people want that type of treatment and service, often it comes down to telehealth or having to drive a couple hours to get to someone who can be of help to you. This study would be impactful because it would help those in urban areas understand the demands of trying to get to that kind of help when you live out in some of these far-reaching states. Will we actually get to the point where this moves something forward? I'm not sure yet. Maybe I should have more faith in what we can get done legislatively, but I'm not entirely sure that they're quite as helpful and adaptive as we need them to be in a short-term plan. The people who are helpful, well, those are some of the folks that have just recently been elected to the North Dakota Soybean Council and Soybean Growers Association boards. For the Soybean Council, Evan Montgomery of Grand Forks, North Dakota is the most recently elected chairman. Ted Brandt from Enderlin will be vice chair. Jeremiah Undum of Oaks is secretary, and Dallas Loff of Wahpeton has been elected to be treasurer. And that's for the Soybean Council. Then when you look at the Soybean Growers Association, they too redesigned their board of directors. And being elected to the office of president is Chris McDonald from Leonard. Kind of cute that Chris gets to, well, I shouldn't say cute, kind of cool, really, that he gets to be on the Soybean Growers Association, and it was his brother Brian who was just elected to SBAR. I mean, this is a farm where they see the value in being a part of these organizations and helping move forward research and policy whenever possible. Joining Chris on the North Dakota Soybean Growers Association board will be Stephanie Cook of Davenport. She'll be the vice president, Josh Gackle of Cullum, and Todd Stutzrud of Barton. Now, in my head, I know Josh Gackle at Cullum, and I sort of want to laugh because I'm thinking his last name is Gackle, which is the name of a town in North Dakota, but he doesn't live in that town. He lives over in Cullum. Just like the Wishicks, they actually live in Ashley. I think that happens a lot where you may have had a town named for your family at one point in history. Doesn't mean you live there. Kind of like so many towns in North Dakota that aren't actually in the county in which they were named for. Like we have a Towner as a town, and we have, I believe we have do we still have a town or county? I think we do. And they're not in the same place. So interesting to look at, right? Some of the things that we have been done over history. Oh man. Okay. Don't forget that next week there is a combine clinic for Kloss for their Farm Point stores. So there's going to be a different business approach with Kloss than what a lot of the other equipment dealers do. They don't necessarily expect you to bring a piece of equipment in to be worked on in their shop. They're going to come to you in a lot of cases. They've got great mobile units, and they want people to be more and more familiar with the Kloss combines. One way that they're doing that is Tuesday in Rothsay. That'll be August 11th from 9 to noon. They are going to be hosting a combine clinic. It'll be at Nordic Farms. And then the next day on Wednesday, August 12th, same thing, 9 to noon, but it will be at the Robert Johnson Farm at Clearbrook, Minnesota. If you're interested in attending those, so you can see the focus on maximizing your time in the field, changing the settings in your machine to make sure you're getting the best product as you possibly can, because we can always make changes in the combine so that we can continue to get better quality grain out of it and not lose any grain out the back. This would be a great event to attend and be a part of. So if you have questions and need some further details, you can email me ag@flagfamily.com, and I'd be happy to help set you up with those. When we return, Anna Sather is going to join us. She is with Farm in the Dell, and we're going to hear about that organization and some upcoming events they've got going on. Looking forward to it with Anna when we return. Hey, be listening after the 2 o'clock hour today because maybe you are going to get in on the next trip to Las Vegas. That's going to be happening from us here at WDAY and the Flag. We want to make sure that you get an opportunity to head to Las Vegas for what I hear to be a pretty cool college football game with UNLV on October 10th at Las Vegas Allegiant Stadium. You get round trip airfare, 3 nights in a hotel, and tickets to the game with a bunch of benefits while you're there. And if you're listening in the 2 o'clock hour, there's going to be a registration for that. And once you are registered, you get in on being able to be at September 14th at Kingpins in order to see who wins to go. Maybe it's you. Why not? Be ready to roll.
Hey, you can't beat Vegas.
Well, they say you can't. Remember, it's gambling.
Literally.
Yep. All right. And don't gamble with your cybersecurity. There have been too many incidents as of late. Fairlife was one of them, Fairlife Dairy. But I keep hearing smaller businesses that, especially agribusinesses and food processors, that are being targeted by hackers. So don't gamble with your security. Talk to Tech Support Farm and make sure you're doing their fence check assessment at techsupport.farm to make sure you're safe and nobody is able to hack into your systems, swipe your banking information, and so much more. Our guest today that's joining us is Anna Sather. She is with Farm in the Dell. Anna, we've talked before, but you're going to need to refresh some minds and memories. Tell us more about Farm in the Dell.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. So Farm in the Dell is a nonprofit just north of Moorhead, Minnesota. Our mission is actually to transform disabilities into abilities. We do that by providing meaningful employment and life experiences in a community farm setting for individuals with developmental disabilities. So we hire a crew of 30 to 35 individuals each summer, spring through fall actually, that come to us with Down syndrome, cerebral palsy, autism, things like that. They were all kind of dealt a hand in life that, no amount of hours in the field or boxfuls of produce can fully solve, but we make sure that they receive meaningful work. So they come and they do everything out in the fields from planting through harvest. So they join us in April and they work with us through typically the end of September. We have over 12 acres out there on the farm where we grow over 50 different typical garden crops. And they work alongside us all summer long to help make that possible. So they're a part of, like I said, everything during the growing season with the planting and the harvest. And then they also get to be a part of the distribution and working at the markets. We actually have a market at Farm in the Dell too, and we host special events. And they really get to be really involved from the start to finish. So it's a really beautiful mission.
When you said the markets, and you have a lot of harvest going on. So folks can come and do some shopping on specific days from you, but are you also doing subscription boxes like CSAs, or is it we're relying on everybody to come on out on our market days?
Mm-hmm. Great question. So actually the way that we distribute much of our produce is, like you said, through a CSA program. So community supported agriculture is a really unique model where customers around the area can make a down payment in the spring, and that helps us pay for supplies and things necessary to really run and operate the garden during the growing season. And then they're really with us through the whole season. So they get to pick up produce every single week from early July through mid-September. So it ends up being 12 to 15 weeks typically. And we have pickup locations weekly at the farm and also a couple other locations in town, one at Shields Home and Hardware in Fargo, and then another one at Salem Church in Moorhead. So that's a really, really cool model. And just one other thing too, is we also have a peak share. So if 12 to 15 weeks feels a bit long for you, or if you don't go through that many veggies, we have a 6-week program as well during the middle of the summer.
You don't go through that many veggies. Come on, everybody. We need more fiber in our lives. Get in there and get some broccoli.
Yeah, it's a really, really cool model. We've actually seen many people come back for years and years at a time. And, you get a wide variety of reasons why people come. We have people with smaller families, people with larger families. We've seen people do partnership CSAs with their neighbors. That's been really cool. We have a lot of people coming to us who are really interested and passionate about preserving food, like canning. So it's really cool to see them come and get excited about all the produce that they're picking up.
So are there times, because you have over 50 different varieties of vegetables and fruits that you're sharing with people, Are there times where you get questions that you may raise your eyebrows? And the reason I ask this, I have a friend who used to be in a CSA. She's since moved, but I remember getting a call from her saying, "There's this thing in my CSA box and I don't know what it is." I said, "Well, send me a picture." And she held it up and she captioned it and she said, "Somebody's missing their spine." Well, it was a stalk of broccoli sprouts, but yes, it kind of looks like a spinal column. And I had to explain to her what it was. So does that happen?
We get questions across the board. I would say specifically to your point of what is this? We actually get that question a lot with kohlrabi. They'll ask, what is this vegetable and how do I cook it? And it's actually really fun to swap notes with each other too, because I've heard a wide variety of ways that people cook kohlrabi. Some people fry it, some people boil it and then mash it like a mashed potato. Some people, bake it. So it's been actually really fun. I've learned a lot as I've chatted with CSA shareholders on how they like to, use their produce. Other questions we get though too are, people. One really beautiful thing is if your pickup location is at the farm, they have that added experience, right, of seeing the gardens, meeting the farmers that grew their food. Sometimes people will bring out their kids and they'll get to pick, sometimes if there's extra produce in the field, we'll say, oh, go and pick extra of this. Like right now, for example, we have cucumbers coming out of our ears. So we'll say, if you'd like some more, feel free to go and pick. And some individuals, and specifically kids, are seeing how produce is grown for the first time. And they might get to, for example, taste a strawberry right off the vine, ripened by the sun for the first time ever. And they've only ever seen that in a grocery store. So that's a really, really beautiful thing.
How's the garden with it being a little bit dry out there these days?
Yeah, we have struggled with certain crops this year. We're really thankful that we were able to add another well out on our property about a year and a half ago. So that's allowed us to really do drip line irrigation through much of the fields. But yeah, some of our crops have suffered as many farm operations have this year. I just got word from our farm manager that we've struggled a little bit with our corn this year, and our potatoes aren't growing quite as fast, and our broccoli and cauliflower and things like that. But we're all in this together, and many of our CSA shareholders, they really are invested in the mission too. And that's kind of the message that we send out to everyone is like, we're all in this together. If we have a year that's very bountiful, we're all going to reap the benefits of that. And if we have a hard year with weather, we're unfortunately all going to feel that too. But it's really cool that everyone is just in this together to support the mission and support the people that we serve.
You've got some upcoming events. Anna, care to fill us in so folks can put them on their calendars?
I would love to. So one that is coming up actually on August 27th. I'm very excited about it. It's the 4th year in a row that we've done this. It's called our Table to Farm Dinners. One way that we were really trying to get more people out to the farm a few years ago and having conversations with our team and our event committee members about this, we kind of thought, what would it look like to bring people out to the farm to eat a beautiful dinner out there? And the farm to table concept has been a really popular thing lately, but we're like, this isn't really table or farm to table. That's everyday life, right? But coming to the farm is actually bringing the table to the farm. And that was a really cool concept. So that's kind of what launched the event series. We've worked with wonderful chefs over the years. This year, we're working with Paul Haugen from New Vibe Culinary. He's actually picking up produce from the field today, and he's going to cook it up into beautiful multi-course meals for us. Oh, I apologize. We actually have a private event coming up next week that's similar to Table to Farm. That's why he's picking up produce today. But nonetheless, he comes and picks up produce from us in the field that's freshly picked by our garden engineers, and he cooks it up into beautiful multi-course meals for us. And it's a really wonderful night of live music, wonderful food, fellowship, individuals who can come out, again, get the opportunity to meet the farmers and walk through the fields and learn how things are grown and experience farm life. And it's just a really, really cool event. It's from 5:30 to 8 o'clock, again, on August 27th. So we're very excited about that one. And then for those who are planning a little bit out and who have families, we actually have our Fall Festival event. We've been doing that for over 10 years. That's a really fun event. September 19th and September, I wrote it down, 26th. That's a really cool event where families can come out, and there's barrel train rides, there's garden tours, there's pumpkin picking, there's carnival games, there's concessions. It's a really fun way for kids to come out and see how things are grown and what farm life is like. And it's just really, really fun all around, both for the kids and the adults.
These are awesome events, Anna. All right, as folks have been listening and they're thinking, I might have an interest in some of these, where do they find more information? How do they get a chance to connect with all of you?
Yep. So we actually have our website is farmandthedelrrv.org, and everything is right on there. If you're interested in signing up or getting on our interest list for a CSA in the future, or if you're interested in learning about our market, or we have actually quite a few weekly U-Pick opportunities where families can come out and pick their own produce, or even volunteering. We have individuals come out to volunteer. We have lots and lots of groups come out to volunteer throughout the growing season. If you're interested in that, that's on our website. Upcoming events. Everything is readily available right on the website. And we also have Farm the Dell RRV as our Instagram and Facebook handles too as well. So I encourage all of you to follow along with us and see what's happening at the farm on a weekly basis.
Boy, those U-Pick type of things are coming out to volunteer as a group. That really sounds like a great scouting opportunity for Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts. I just think about the interaction they can have with your team that's out there and just the education of working in a garden like that and in fields and being able to harvest so many different things.
It's so fun when groups come out for volunteering. We've had lots and lots of groups this year. We've had corporate groups and church groups. We've had quite a few daycares. You know, if you're interested in just coming out and touring the farm, you can reach out to us and we can line that up. But also, if you're interested in volunteering, there's always so much work to be done in a 12-acre garden. You know, depending on the day, we might have you harvesting or working on special projects, or as many of you know, there's always lots of weeding to be done, and we appreciate that help so much too. And then you pick, depending on the week, families can come out and pick, you know, strawberries or pumpkins. Those are two of our most popular things. Or herbs. We have lots of herbs. You can pick flowers. And again, depending on the time of year, you could pick corn, onions, beets, peas, beans, lots of different things. So that is a really, really fun thing. And that's available actually on Thursdays from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. And again, from 4 to 6 p.m. on Thursdays, people can come out and U-Pick.
Well, I'll tell you what, if anybody missed the contact information or needs a follow up to any of this, and you're like, wait, who was I supposed to get a hold of? You can always email me, ag@flagfamily.com, and I will gladly connect you directly to Anna. I appreciate so much that she allows me to do that. Just so sometimes folks are listening while they're driving, et cetera, and they don't quite catch all of it. Don't worry, I'll get you to the right people in the right places. Anna, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Well, when we come back, we're going to run down what the weekend forecast looks like. We do have a couple of chances for a few isolated storms in the forecast, but a better chance later next week. We'll run down the details on the possibility of rainfall across the area coming up right after the break. Hey, welcome back to Weather and Ag in Focus, and we're looking at a beautiful day out there today. If you like the cooler weather, currently temperatures in the low 70s across the area. A little bit of a breeze out of the northwest between 10 and 20. We're getting a few of those fair weather cumulus clouds to pull in from the north as well. So it's going to be a beautiful day if you like a little break from the heat. We'll top out in the upper 70s today and down into the mid 50s. Another beautiful night, beautiful sleeping weather tonight. And then we'll start to warm things up a little bit on Saturday. It looks like about 86, 87 degrees right around there. And then a slight chance for an isolated storm on Saturday night. Again, nothing widespread, but the chance is there as a cool front swings through. That'll drop our temperatures to closer to 80 on Sunday. And then another slight chance of an isolated storm Sunday night. And then we're in the low to mid 80s through the middle of next week. And then we'll see a quick burst of some warmer weather on Thursday with upper 80s. And then a chance for storms Thursday and Friday. And it looks like that chance might be a little more widespread, which is good news as we head to the end of next week. I was looking at some of our long-range models over the next 10 days. In general, about a half inch to an inch of rain, pretty widespread across a lot of the area. So that's good news there. And the weather is brought to you by the Hot Tub and Sauna Store in West Fargo. Do you want to feel amazing and relaxed every day? Discover the wellness you deserve at the Hot Tub and Sauna Store. Sink into, and I just got one of these installed, a brand new Caldera Spa. It is so relaxing. It's helped with my lower back problems. It's helped with sleep at night, kind of relaxes you right before you go to bed. It's super energy efficient, and it's easy saltwater maintenance as well. You can also check out their Finleo saunas. Those are great, too. Great for health. You can train, detox, and just truly, truly relax. The Hot Tub and Sauna Store. Stop by today right next to Costco in West Fargo. And this is good weather at night to get into that beautiful hot tub. In July, it was a little rough because it's tough to get in a hot tub when it's 95 degrees still in the evening when you're getting off of work. But, boy, these nights when they're in the 50s and 60s, that is so relaxing.
Well, if you are thinking about, there's too much plastic in my life, right? People are worried about that all the time these days. You're talking to somebody who actually takes her own bags to the grocery store. I'm tired of plastic bags. I just don't need another one. But researchers at an Asian university have an idea about storage solutions. So not necessarily plastic bags, but they're thinking about the things that you buy in clear plastic wrap at the grocery store. Sometimes you have fruits and vegetables that are wrapped in those. They've been taking pumpkin peel and they have been synthesizing it as a nanomaterial for food packaging, and it's shown to slow the deterioration of fruit and other produce while it's packaged up in this pumpkin peel plastic. It's estimated that a good 40% of our harvested fruits and vegetables never even get to consumers. They get lost, deteriorated, rot, whatever happens somewhere between the farm and the market where we buy them. But better packaging could help reduce air exposure, humidity, and even physical damages. And those plastics, well, we all know that they tend to come at a little bit of a cost, but maybe the pumpkin peel plastics of the future could be the way to save some of this. The first experiment that was done with them included cherry tomatoes, which are highly perishable. I don't know how anybody has them perishable. They never actually last that long here, but sure, I'll go with that. And so it compared the results of that packaging versus conventional plastic film, and it showed that using the pumpkin peel plastic actually held off some of the deterioration in a really positive way. So that was one cool thing that I just saw this week. Additionally, for those of you who have to dash off to the local feed store to pick up chicken feed, maybe you need bedding for your rabbits. Perhaps you saw Molly's new line of clothing at Tractor Supply Company and thought, I want that particular sweater. Well, good news. Tractor Supply Company is now on the list of places where you can shop using Instacart. So, you need some chicken feed, new watering can. How about a bird feeder? You can put it on your Instacart list and have it brought to you from Tractor Supply Company. So, everybody's in on the home delivery action. Why wouldn't they? I thought that was pretty neat.
When I think of Molly, I'm looking at her Parmesan steak bites, the recipe for that. That's what I'm looking at. I saw that on her website the other day. I'm like, oh, now I know what I have to go get at the store.
Yeah, and actually, I mean, she's got a line at Tractor Supply, and she also just launched a uh, dishes and servingware line, and I think that was at Anthropology, but I have to go double check where I saw it. So yes, there's a couple things.
Great.
Speaking of Tractor Supply, they have recently partnered up with the National 4-H Council and Starlink because they're going to help to expand access of reliable internet in rural communities. So the president and CEO of the National 4-H Council says more than $500,000 came in from Tractor Supply to bring in these new digital resources. 100 Starlink kits will be distributed to local 4-H clubs in underserved areas. A lot of people want their kids to stay in rural communities, and this partnership allows them to grow. So Starlink tells us that the value of the first month subscription service from Starlink will come along with these kits. And so that's a donated item that goes to 4-H, and students get the opportunity to, when they're at meetings or at events, they have internet access. Surprisingly, well over half of rural areas in the United States don't have reliable broadband internet. So this is one more way for folks to be able to reach out. Personally, I now have a mini Starlink for my pickup. We all know that I'm in places where sometimes my signal just dies. Addison,
That's
well
for
aware.
Sure. Yep.
So we're trying to make that better by putting the Starlink on there and see if I can have some improved service in some very remote areas.
Actually, I think we should make Bridget's signal worse
Now, why would we want to do
I
that?
don't know if you
to
could.
really keep you
I mean,
on your toes, Wysocki.
No, thanks.
yeah. I mean, like yesterday, I'm in my office and all of a sudden I just completely
It just
blanked out on
dies,
me. So
right?
it just died. What is going on? But yet, when I was in Montana in June, as long as I remembered not to shut my pickup off because it was a nice day, which killed the power to the Starlink, by God, I had service in the middle of nowhere. So we'll see how it goes the rest of the year before that.
Good deal. Good deal. Well, want to thank everybody for joining us on this fabulous Friday on Weather and Ag in Focus. Don't go anywhere. Hey, can you believe it? Jay Thomas is actually working on a Friday.
That's a lie.
The Jay Thomas Show is coming up next.